Hi all, welcome to the workshop. As you can see on the workbench today is going to be stages 15 to 18 of FanHomes KITT from Knight Rider. Right, so we have issue 15 of Build the Legendary KITT from Knight Rider. Now I'm just trying out something at the moment. I'm trying with two cameras today. The first time I've done it. I'm still new to this to YouTube and videoing what I'm doing, but I do hope I'm helping some of you out there. So I've actually got a camera up here now, as well as a camera over here. So hopefully, if there's any cuts or edits and like that in this, I do apologise. It's still a learning curve. I do hope you can bear with me. So this is issue 15. What we're doing today is building up the rest of the wheel arch, and we're going to be adding parts to that, and then we're going to be adding that to the vehicle. So let's get on and build. So the first part we're going to need is the wheel arch from our previous issue, and we're going to be getting our top mount, and we're going to be placing that on top of here. Only goes one way around, and we're going to be securing that with 3 GM screws. I'm just going to pop those in some oil just to help them bite in. Now I have just realised that I haven't covered the parts list. So we've got the top mount cover, top mount rubber cover, we have the shock absorber, we have 2 parts of the control box, we have a spring, which I'm not going to lose like I did the last video, it's not going to run away, and a pipe. We've also got some EM screws, CP screws, MM screws, GM screws. These 2 tiny things are the connectors for the control box. So now we've done the top mount, we now need to get our shock absorber, and we need to put that into this little recess, which does have a key shape, and we're going to pop that just in like that. We're going to then be securing that from the top with an MM screw, and they are the flanged type screws. Now I did wonder on the first time whether that should stay loose. It does still stay loose, and it doesn't matter how much you tighten that screw, that does stay a little bit loose, but that's to allow movement in the shock, so that's absolutely fine. Next up, we're going to need our control box. So we're just going to place those 2 parts together like that, and then we're going to pop that over the top of the wheel arch like that. That's going to be secured from underneath with a CP screw. Just like that. Okay, step 4, we're going to need our small connectors, and they're going to go into these 2 holes here. You can see one has a flat spot on the top, and the bottom one is fully round. May or may not just be able to see this, it's so tiny. The curved connector, you can just about see that one end is much narrower than the other end. That narrow end is the one that slots into the shaped key, and that just gets pushed all the way in. Then the other one, again, it has an orientation. You can just about see that there's a thick end and a narrow end. The thick end has to go into the control box. and that's just pushed in just like that. The next step is to connect this cable to the end of that, but I've seen several people on the Facebook group saying that snapped on them, so I'm actually going to leave it off for now, because it's just going to be a hazard and get in the way, and I'm sure that's probably what causes the snaps. So the next thing we're going to be doing is actually adding this wing to the main chassis. I'm just going to bring the chassis over. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be putting that over the top of this, making sure that this post goes into this post. And the main thing we want to not forget is this spring, which will go onto here. And then we're just going to secure that in place with some EM screws, I believe. So we're just going to slide that over, try not to lose the spring, like that. In fact, it might be easier to offer the chassis up to the wing. Hopefully you can just about see that on the top camera. So we've now captured that spring onto the shock like that. And now we're going to be using 2 EM screws to secure this. There is a little pin, a little locating pin just here. So you want to make sure that that locates nicely. You are obviously got the spring back there, so it's just a case of making sure it's located when you put the first EM screw in. And we're going to have one go in just here and one just here. And again, going into metal, so a little dab of oil will go a long way. And one just in there. The next thing we're going to be doing is flipping the vehicle over. And we're going to be adding another EM screw in here. And that will hold the front end of the wheel arch in place. And then finally what we're going to be doing is adding another screw just in here, and that is going to be a GM screw. Just going to go in there like that. And with the addition of the top mount cover, that completes stage 15. Okay, we now have stage 16 of build kit. Just go a quick look through. So in this one, we're going to be building up the wheel, and we're going to be adding it to the vehicle. So what I've done, I've put the tyre in some boiling water. I am not going to do it the way the instructions say. I know some people can do it. I struggled with doing it the way the instructions say the first time. So I've done it the way I've built up all my other wheels for other models. and that is I'm going to build the wheel first. So to do that, we're just going to add those two parts together, lining up the lugs, and we're going to be then securing that together with 3 EM screws. Just like that. And if you watch my previous video, you'll see that I've done it this way last time and it worked absolutely fine. So I'm just going to get the tyre out of the hot water, which has now gone nice and malleable, and we're just going to push that over the top, just like that. No worrying about having to try and compress it whilst trying to put 3 screws in. It's as simple as that. Now, I'm just going to use my sleeve because I seem to have lost my cloth just to dry that off. And that's looking like that. Dry the mat. So the next bit we're going to do, I've grabbed the brake rotor from a previous issue. And I just realised, again, I didn't do the introduction of the parts. Naughty me. So we've got AM screws, FM screws, EM screws, little washer. We obviously have the wheel and the tyre. This I've grabbed from previous issue. Also, we've got the wheel cover itself. So the next part we're going to be doing, we're going to be grabbing that brake disc and the chassis of the car, and we're going to be popping that over the top of the axle here. Put that on the side like that. Now there is a keyway on the axle. You can just about see that, I believe, and the brake backing plate will sit into that locating pin, as you can see there, but we need to ensure that the disc brake is also in there. So that's like that. And next we're going to be grabbing the wheel, which again has this keyway, and that will locate within the disc brake. Just like that. And then we'll be going to securing that with an FM screw after putting it in our little washer. So the washer goes in there. And we're going to be getting our FM screw, dipping that in a bit of oil, and securing that in like that. Now, I'm building this as intended, so I'm not doing any of the Michael Lane mods or anything like that. I'm just putting these screws in here, and we're going to be securing that with some AM screws. I do apologise for the sound, my kettle's just decided it's going to start boiling itself. And the last thing to do on this stage is to grab our brake line that we had previously, and we're going to be putting that onto the back of the brake disc. Just like that. I should say brake caliper, not disc. And there shouldn't be any real slack or excess on there. Just realised there's a bit of blue tack on there. Now, I've seen some people get this block the wrong way around. It is meant to be, I did mention it in the video originally, that it should go to the left, the back and the front. And I believe it's because this hole here is going to be a mounting hole for something in the future, most likely the engine. And if you have it any other way, it covers that hole. And that is the end of stage 16. So we now have issue 17. I'm going to be starting on the front fans. Ready to mount them onto the radiator, which will be coming in the next issue. So what we've got some BP and DP screws, we have the fan assembly, we have a mounting bracket, and we have 3 fans. Should be a nice quick issue. So the first thing we're going to be doing is getting our fan assembly. That way. We're going to be getting each of our individual fans, and we're going to be popping them just in the mounting there. The fans do have an orientation. You can just about see there's a groove on one side and not on the other side. It's the groove that goes over the top of the fan housing, just like that. And we're going to be securing those with the DP screws. One, two, and 3. Next we're going to be mounting this onto the bracket here. So the fans do have these little lugs, and they have corresponding holes to go into. There is an orientation to this, and I'm just checking what it is. I believe I had it the right way around. So there's a smaller gap this side and a larger gap at the top between the fan housing and the edge of the bracket. Just looking at the instructions, the connectors are on this side and the smaller gap is on this side. And we're going to be securing that in 4 places with BP screws. One there. One there. One there. And the final one just in there. And that is stage 17 complete. I'm going to leave it on the workbench because the next stage is 18 and we're going to be needing that part. So we now have stage 18. This is the last bit for this build pack, and we're going to be building up the front radiator and attaching it to the vehicle. So in this pack we have the 2 parts of the radiator. We have the radiator surround, we have 2 bracing pieces, 2 radiator pipes. We also have 3 other pipes which we won't be using in this issue, I believe. So we're just going to put those ones to one side and keep those safe. We also have some BP, CP and EM screws. Okay, so the first thing we're going to be doing is getting to two parts of our radiator and just popping those together. Just like that. We are then going to be getting our fan assembly. You'll notice that there are holes on this side and they are off center, so they're not symmetrical, and that's because they will be going into this bracket later in that direction. You can see that the holes do line up, so you want to make sure that on this side that the fan housing will be flush with that edge, and it'll only go one way to make that side completely flush, as you can see there. We're going to be securing that on the back with two BP screws. One in there and one in there. That's looking like that. And then we're going to be grabbing our frame and we're going to be sliding that into there just like that, ensuring that the holes all do line up. And we'll be securing that with 4 CP screws, but we also need to include our braces. So the braces will go like this and like this. Just checking the orientation, and it looks like they do go, so the little curves at the ends will face towards the inner part of the radiator. So we're going to be securing that with, as I say, CP screws. So whilst holding that there, I'm just going to place that there, and I'm going to pop that one in there. Just going to do that loose to hold it. And I'm going to do the same on this side. Just placed over the top, hold it in place, and screw it in. I still haven't done those tight yet. I'm just going to put this bracket in as well. Again, a CP screw will hold that in place. Just that. And just there. Now those all partially in, we can squeeze up the edge of the radiator and we can just tighten these down fully. And that's what it looks like at this stage. So the next thing we're going to be doing is getting our 2 pipes, and we're going to be putting them over the top of these little lugs. I'm just going to bring back my hot water a moment, because I find just leaving them in hot water for just a second, just the ends, just enough to make them a little bit softer and making that a little bit easier to slot over, just like that. I'm going to bring in the chassis again now, because we're going to be now mounting this to the vehicle just on these 2 holes here. I'm going to just be slotting that in just like that. And then we're going to be securing that with 2 EM screws. And that is what that looks like. Show on the top cam here. You will notice now that I've now put this pipe in from the control box. I did that the same way as I did these ones. I just left this end in some hot water and just put it over the top of that. It makes it so much easier. You put no stress on that part, and then you'll find that the part doesn't break. So that is now it for this month's of kit. So now we'll wait for the next issue. I'm going to be putting this one up on the channel, but I've also got several issues of my DeLorean, which I've already done and videoed. I just need to edit those together, and then that will be going on the channel as well. So, thank you very much for watching. Hope the editing in this is not too bad when it comes to doing it. But hopefully I'll see you again on the channel. Please remember to hit the likes button if you enjoyed the video, and please remember to hit the subscribe button to see what else comes along in the workshop.